Tomorrow, we are taking the constructed response portion of your final exam. Hang on, I think she's in the wrong area. Anyway, you are taking the constructed response portion of your final tomorrow. So this is what it's about, in addition to the Unit 3 stuff that you got today. Same exact questions, just different numbers and pictures and things like that. So tomorrow's the day. I would really make this one the good one because this is the one that has all that extra credit opportunity attached to it. So you also have the option to create a 3x5-inch index card to kind of use as a cheat sheet. And you will turn it in though each day that you test. So if you're planning to make one for the other part of your final, then you need to have like 2 separate ones. So that I would take full advantage of. And also I've recorded all my classes, us going over your requests. So if your question is not answered and you still aren't asking it, then maybe consider watching me explain it to the other classes. And I'm recording what we're going over today. So there's lots of resources in Schoology. And I'll even show you the other part of your final. Now I did have, because I did have someone have to take it early. I did have someone take it and they got a 65% on it. So I think it is definitely possible to get a good grade on it. Just in my experience, even though like we review, kids usually just vomit. I don't know if they just don't care or they just are too busy studying for other classes. But kids usually do worse on the one that they take on final exam day. So just saying, if you want to make sure that that's not you, then use these that are in Schoology. They're in this week's folder. The blue one is for a grade. I'll give you time Friday to work on it. And I'll give you a packet that'll match the blue one. The green one's extra credit. The green one, the green one will have different numbers each time you take it, or at least it should. Because there's like 10 different types of numbers used for each question. So when you really think about it, there's like over 1,000 possible questions that you could be looking at. So there you go. Probably not 1,000, but like for each attempt, it's like an entirely different puzzle piece, if that makes sense. So if you really want to see if you're learning, if you're applying what you learned with like different style numbers, then use that green one and it'll be extra credit. So any questions on anything I just said? Okay, then what, also real quick, this is in there from yesterday, the part that we focused on, which I also told you to take out in case you had more questions on it. So it's fully filled out. Know that if you copy it and turn it in and like for homework grade, because that was part of your classwork, is doing this and you checking it off in class, like that's fine, but tomorrow you're taking the real thing and you want to know how to do it when there's different numbers involved. So make sure that you either use this to make your note card or really try to understand it before you come in to take it tomorrow. So any questions? And that's in school. All right, so what questions do we have from either portion? Jorge?
Yeah. Wait, in the back.
Okay, so choice 2. Let's just do the whole choice 2. Sorry, I get really distracted with like all the mumbling and stuff. All right. Which of these scatter plots shows data that would be best modeled with a linear function? So which one do you think?
Middle one.
Okay, why the middle one?
That's more of a line.
Okay, so don't forget to explain, because if you only do that, that's like half of the points for that part. You would say the second option, because it is the most straight. You're not wrong there. What else could you say? Okay.
Line that best fit can be easily drawn.
Okay, and a trend line or line of best fit drawn would be close to the actual values. Or something to that effect. Because you're supposed to draw your line of best fit towards the middle of the data where it's all clustered around. So if I drew it here, well, it's kind of off a little bit. But if I drew it like here, there's still a lot that are far away. If I drew it here, basically all of them are close to it. If I drew it here, I still have a lot that are far away. So yeah, the middle one would be best with the most straight, likewise with the next speak. Questions on that? So don't forget to explain. Then this part down here, had a lot of questions about that part. So 10 students in a graduate program were randomly selected. The following data represents their GPA at the beginning of the year versus at the end of the year. And it's in a table. That's our actual data. And hold on, I just wrote that up. And then also in the scatter plot. And then these over here, A, B, C, and D, are options. They are, someone who was confused that it could be part of the data. No, you can only have one trend line for your linear model. And you could estimate it by hand. You could. If you do, you need to draw a line through the middle of your data where it's all like clustered around it. So you have to take like something like another piece of paper and like line it up where you think it's the middle, like draw it really nice. But this one is, would you say that like if I drew a line in the middle right here, that they're all really close to it? Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say they're all really close to it, but this one is a bit harder to estimate in my opinion. Like we estimated it earlier, and because I don't have a paper to like draw the line, I was doing it from here. We kind of estimated it a little bit wrong. So the best way to solve this one, the most accurate way would be to use what?
Desmos.
So you just have to know how to do that. Since it gives you the data table, you really could just copy it. You know what each exact scatter point coordinate is. So then you put that in. You do get Desmos on the test. So make sure you bring your Chromebook and your charger and all the things. And I went and did that while you guys were working. So here's the table. You do need all the values in your table. If you only put some of them in, it'll change the trend line. So to put in a table, make sure you press the plus, hit table, and then type them all in. It's tedious, but just make sure you do it, all the values. And then in a different cell, you're going to write this. So this is something I would put on my note card. You're going to type in y1 squiggly mx1 plus b. Because what equation do straight lines all have? Y equals mx plus b. But to make this read it, you have to do the x1, y1 so that it attaches it to this table that we made. And then I don't know why you need the squiggly, but it just, that's how you make it do the thing. So it's in the middle of my data and it estimates this for my M and this for my B. So then which answer option on the paper best matches that? Okay, Michael T says C. Anyone disagree? Okay. So then there you go. C is the best option. When you estimate it, you might get something that's not exactly what C says, but you know, yeah, it'll be close. You pick the one that is closest. For your reasoning, do not just say I put in Desmos. You won't get points for that. For your reasoning, you could say C is the best option because the slope is closest to, and it is, on this one, it happens to be exactly. On your actual test, it might be whatever is closest to. What the computer says, so 0.0313. So that's another thing to note. The slope's always in front of the X. So this one, they wrote the y-intercept first, so, you know. Slope is closest to this. And B is closest to, the y-intercept is closest to 3.67, something to that effect. Whatever you estimated it to be. Compared to like what the computer says. John? Well, you'll turn it in with your test, like you'll probably, you really don't need your name on it, no. Question, any other questions? Okay, what about from any other parts of the review, either from the one we did yesterday or today? Hey, you sure you know if they're reading right? What else?
What was one,
For unit 3? Yeah.
I think so.
That one? Okay, so for, you just asked for C, so let's see if we need. Well, I think we do see it not necessarily, unless you want to. But it says among females, what proportion prefer snowboarding? So we actually might have to do all this. Hang on, I need to zoom out. Okay, hold please. Okay. Back to no talking, sorry. So an outdoor club conducted a survey of its members. The members were asked to state their preference between skiing and snowboarding. Each member had to pick one. Of the 60 males, so where am I putting that 60? Okay, over here where the male total is. 45 stated they preferred to snowboard. Where do I put the 45? Okay, then it says 22 of the 60 females preferred to ski. Where do I put the 22? And then where do I put the 60? Below the other 60, yeah, because it's the female total. Does it tell me anything for the rest? No, but you can use your problem solving skills to figure it out. You know that these all have to be like your column totals. Here's my grand total. What is my grand total? Okay, good. What else could you figure out? 37. Does that add up to 60?
38.
Oh, right, the data?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I meant like total, like the total preference.
37, gotcha. And then what's in here? Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you need that info. Okay, next time I'm gonna have you go to table 9.
Oh, man.
Yeah. All right, so then part B, you're making a relative frequency table. When you hear relative frequency, what should you be thinking of immediately? Percent or decimals? I'll let you decide what you want to do. How do I know, how do I figure out what decimal or percent goes here? Okay, what total? So for these, you're doing 15 divided by 120, or really all of these divided by 120, if you're just making a relative frequency table. You're dividing by your grand total. So the total people surveyed. What is that decimal? Well, I'll put in my calculator.
Oh, no.
15 divided by 120. It's 0.125. You don't need to write the fraction, but I think that might do help. Making a note of it. What is the decimal that will go here? Like, what fraction do I need to do? For males that prefer snowboarding.
45 out of 6. For one.
Well, is it 60 or 120? 120. If you're making a table, you have to do it by your grand total. So 45 divided by 120. I got 0.375. Okay, right? Cause I should be able to look at this and see like, okay, this is my proportion of the whole people. Does that make sense? Okay. Female ski, what am I dividing? Good, and that equals 0.183. 0.183, like that, down in the street. Okay, and then 38 divided by 120 is gonna be this one. Which is what? 0.316. What? Yeah, well, maybe if you're rounding, put 3 spots, it'd be like 3.17. All right, anyway, good. So it should be all decimals or all percents. If you did percents, then it would be 12.5% here, 37.5% here, 18.3%, and 31.7%. Now, down here, so the real one that we were trying to figure out. It says among females. That means not out of all the people surveyed, just out of the females. How many people were the females? Okay, so 60 females were surveyed. Sorry, I keep saying that. So out of those 60, what proportion preferred snowboarding? 38. So in that case, we're gonna do 38 divided by 60. That's my women who prefer snowboarding, divided by my women. And then that gives me what? Can you look at these? So yeah, if you're doing a decimal, which it doesn't specify, so it's up to you, it's like 0.63 or 63% if you do the percent. It's probably many. I'll leave that up to you. Questions on that? Can we figure out D since it's already there? So you guys figure that out real quick unless you already did. So that a male prefers to ski. I think that one would be divided by the grand total. It's not necessarily always, it'll specify among people. Okay, anyone get anything different? Is it 15 divided by 120? Okay, I agree, which is the 0.125, which is 12.5%. So to convert decimals to percentages, you times by 100%. Right? Questions? I don't know where you're
I don't know either.
Okay, so yeah, 15 divided by 120 times by 100% if you want the percent. Questions on this? Questions on others? And it could be from today or yesterday. Any last minute questions we have before you head to tomorrow? One. Yep, your constructor response question and silence. Well, after the last. Questions, comments, concerns, last call? If you still have a question.